You've mentioned a couple of times to me that like you used to not have your shit together at all, and that if I had met you like in the early days, I would have had like a really bad impression or something like that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Very possible.
Was that before this like wedding, or was that at the time you were still like, I don't know my shit together, whatever?
I think it was. It's a good question. I forget when this was, but I definitely got my stuff together after the wedding, I think.
Okay. So maybe was that one of the reasons why you got it together, the experience with the wedding, or not really?
No, it was another unrelated thing actually. So I was in this
unrelated thing.
Pardon?
I said, tell us about this thing. I know that there's a story.
All right, cards are on the table. So, have you ever heard of the Montreal All City Big Band?
Yes.
Is that ring a
I'm
bell?
Confused.
It was run by what's his name? Christian Morisette. Yeah, that's who ran it. Christian Morisette. So he ran this big band.
You know what? That was probably like inspired by CJD, the one I was talking about with Denny Christensen, the CJD. Anyway, whatever. It's the history of Montreal and whatever. But okay, sorry. So that's yes, I know what that is. Yeah.
So it was this band. So Cégep University kids and whatnot. You know, we'd all audition, get in the band, play the big band charts. And yeah, I definitely had an organizational problem. So like, you know, I'd forget charts and was not, you know, I just didn't have it together. So we had this one show where it was at Boston Denis, and I will always remember this show because I show up. You know, I didn't have a keyboard back then, so I borrowed a friend's keyboard. I show up to the gig, I think I forgot the power cable at home, right? So yeah, it sucks. I can't play keys. But there was another keyboard player also who was in the band before us, and we were supposed to use the keyboard that I brought, and he also couldn't do the gig because I didn't bring the power cord. Exactly. And it wasn't the first time that I, you know, did something like this where, like, you know, like I said, I'd always forget charts and this and that, and I just wasn't. No, I love playing piano, but I just wasn't able to get around to the other stuff that being a musician involves, you know. Sure. So long story short, I get kicked out. I go home.
So what happened? Like how did he deliver that message to you? Was he furious? Like I'm really curious.
He was furious. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was livid. He's like, I can't believe you did that. Yeah. Like what the heck, man? Like it's not just you on the line, but this kid can't play the gig either. Yeah. Because you're supposed to borrow his keyboard. Like I don't know what the heck to do with you. You keep doing this, forgetting stuff, blah blah blah. You know, really like not holding back at all.
Yeah,
you know?
And not undeserved, right?
Exactly. Yeah. He had a point. I mean, my parents were there. This is back again when I didn't have a car and I didn't have my license.
Yeah.
Not to say that you have to get your car and you have to get a license if you want to be a musician, but I was relying. I had a buddy of mine actually drove me to the gig,
right?
Because I couldn't do this myself. So we had to do all of this. He drove me to the gig, lugged the keyboard around with me, and my parents showed up to the gig, and voila! I couldn't play because I didn't have anything. It was really very humiliating experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So basically, that kind of changed my whole approach with just how I deal with anything professionally. You know, I don't take anything for granted. You know,
right. So after that happened,
time I forgot a patch key. Say what?
So after that happened, what were the changes that you made?
Well, I sat down. I had to figure out a way to make sure. So you really did
sit down with yourself and be like, "Oh my God, I can't let that happen again." Like you really,
I literally spent a week telling myself, am I made? I was young and stupid also, and I was like saying dumb things like, am I really made to do this career? Like, is this worth it? Blah blah blah. Like I was ready to switch careers basically.
But I think those are
dramatic as it sounds. Yeah.
Those are legitimate questions. I mean, every musician does not show up to a certain place from 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock. Like you got to schedule your shit. You got to get back to people. Like every gig is like a negotiation. You know what I mean? Like it's not just the stuff aside from music is super complicated. You know.
Oh, it's a huge part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to, spend a couple of days just to think of what I really wanted out of, and it's going to sound huge, but yeah, what I wanted to do with my life.